brothers and my sisters. This is Brother Minister. Tune into Black Eyes TV for the realest talk online for the liberation of our people.
Greetings, my name is Queen Esther, and I'm here today to share some information about the celestial work, about the GPS, to bring some more clarity so you can have a full understanding of the importance of this work and how it works for you. Many of you are used to working with astrology, many of you know about numerology, but the galactic purpose signature, or GPS, is something that many of you are not familiar with. Galactic purpose signature is actually what you signed up for when you came on the planet. It defines what your purpose is, what you came here to do, what you said that you would do, whether you remember or not, and it is where you have your power and strength. Now, the GPS readings I do for you personally, according to your birth date, but this information is to give you the background of how the information is comprised, where it comes from, and why the accuracy is so prevalent. First of all, we have to understand that we believe that there are 12 months in the year, but there are actually 13 moons, 13 months in a year, going according to nature's calendar, being 28 days in a cycle for the moon, 7 days in a week, 14 days in 2 weeks, 21 days in 3 weeks, and 28 days in 4 weeks. So when we talk about 30 days and 31 days, that is actually not natural. And that takes us out of rhythm. So if we multiply 28 times 13, we actually get 364 days in a year. So I'm just showing you the shift of how we have to get into organic, natural time in order to get this information. So there are actually 13 moons in a year. Every moon has a different tone or a different vibration, a different energy. And when I do your reading for you, I will tell you what tone you were born under. Was it the first tone? Was it the second tone? Third? From 1 to 13, each month has a different tone, a different energy, and that's what I will share with you on your personal reading. 13 tones, 13 moons, and we find out which moon you were born under. The next thing we're going to find out, there are tones, and then there's also glyphs. There's symbols, glyphs as in hieroglyphics. A lot of the Mayan work, the Mexican Mayan work, also connects to Kemet in Egypt. Kemetic work, so there is a correlation in many ways. So we're going to find out the glyph that you come under, and that has to do with classifications of life. For example, everything in the water, those are called the water people, the water energies, that's a certain type of life form. Everything that flies, the birds, everything that's in the sky, that's another type of life form. All the insects crawling, another type of life form. The four-leggeds, your cows, your horses, your pigs, your dogs, your giraffes, everything with 4 legs, another life form. And then there's you and me. How do we identify us? Because we've got 10 fingers and we've got 10 toes. So we have 20 digits, also known as 20 glyphs. And when I do your reading, we'll find out of those 20 glyphs, which one symbolizes you. So that's what the reading basically comprises of, understanding the tone out of the 13 tones, the cosmic celestial energy, and out of the 20 glyphs, which glyph do you symbolize? Which glyph expresses who you are? The information is profound. It tells us who you are, what you came on the planet to do, and it empowers you to be yourself. This is Queen Esther. I'll be looking for you to sign up for your GPS reading. It'll strengthen you. It'll help you acknowledge yourself. It'll help you validate yourself to walk into your power unapologetically, because that's what you came here to do. Give thanks. See you soon.
play, boy.
Greetings, this is Brother Minister here, representing for AWF, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some information about the Most Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So a lot of people are aware Marcus Mosiah Garvey was born in Jamaica, St. Anne's Bay. Why we talk about Marcus Garvey so much is for the vision that Marcus Garvey had for our people across the world. People have said to me about Marcus Garvey failed. And I say to them, how did Marcus Garvey fail? The vision is there, the works is there, the ideas is there. If anybody is failing, it would be on us if there's a failure. It wouldn't be on Marcus Garvey. So, back to Marcus Garvey's coming from Jamaica. He travels, around the world. He travels to South America. The Caribbean, he sees the conditions of African people, how they're treated around the world, and he felt that this treatment is not right, and he looked at other nations as he was traveling, and he saw that these nations are well-established nations, and he started to question, well, where is the black man's established buildings and established people and all of these kind of things? And he said to himself, you know what, I'm going to help make these establishments and men of great big affairs and these things. So he sets up an organization in America. The reason why he went to America, he wanted to set up an education institution like Booker T. Washington had at the time. But when he got to America, Booker T. Washington sadly passed away, and he traveled to, I think, 38 states when he first came to America, and he decided in 1918 that he's going to have to stay in America and set up the headquarters of the UNIA in America. Marcus Garvey, the idea, like prior to Marcus Garvey coming, the idea of all African people being connected, moving together as one, it was, some people would say it was there from the people of like Robert Love and other people, but there was no organization out there that was formulating or formatting the people into one body. Marcus Garvey came and he did that. You had, I think that they said that he had about 900 to 1,000 chapters around the world, and he had a lot of those chapters in America. When you look at places like in the South, one area may have even 70 chapters. Do you know what I mean? And in my presentation, I've broke down, I've showed evidence of the different chapters and where and what countries had them and how much was in different states in America, and you can see that there was a lot of movement. Marcus Garvey's main reason was to help change the conditions of our people. That was the fundamental thing, and to bring all of our people together under one banner. This is why we cherish the flag, the red, black and the green, which is this year makes 100 years of it being in existence, because prior to the flag they used to make jokes and sing songs about the Negro has no flag, and Marcus Garvey said, well, they said that about us last year, what are they going to say about us this year? Race first is the idea, Garveyism, seeing yourself first, loving yourself first, these issues that we face today, it's fair to say that we faced them 100 years ago. Marcus Garvey came with the solution to these issues and these problems. So if a lot of the time people say to me, Brother Minister, what is the solution? And I would say to them, Marcus Garvey is the solution. And then when they be like sometimes, well, here you go again with this Marcus Garvey thing, not understanding. I'm not actually talking about a person when I say that. I'm talking about ideas. I'm talking about a principle. I'm talking about a vision for our people. So it's not just saying the man Marcus Garvey. The reason why I then give respect to the man is because the man was a selfless human being. He could have done anything with his life. He was very articulate. He could have just been a journalist, made money, took care of his family, like what most people would do today. Not choose to stand up and fight and, give your whole life for your people. Garvey was shot, 4 times. He was put in jail. Garvey, throughout his history on the earth, he's seen maybe, 3 or 4 prisons, from Jamaica to America. And even in Costa Rica, when he was young coming up, they locked him up for, disturbing the so-called peace, you could say, because he was basically championing for the workers' rights and things like that. And of course, at this time, these countries didn't have their independence. They were ruled by colonial powers. And, they saw Marcus Garvey as a threat for what he was saying, because black people were not allowed to have anything. We were not allowed to organize in their head. We don't have the capacity to be self-determined. And Marcus Garvey said that, we are going to be self-determined whether you like it or not. And he organized the people. He didn't just talk it. He had thousands of members, millions of members, I should say, all around the world. He had, businesses, from making those for young children to clothes, uniforms, textiles and all of these things, to a steamship, where he was going to have trade coming from Africa to America to the Caribbean, bringing everybody together, creating businesses, wealth, nationalizing certain things and certain products that we had. He had the Negro World. The Negro World was a newspaper, but it was more than just a newspaper. It's just like, we could say reggae music is music, but it's more than music. So, it's the same way I'm saying that the Negro World is a newspaper, but it's more than just a newspaper. They used to ban the newspaper in certain countries. If you got caught with the newspaper, you could be killed. They used to memorize the newspaper, and people would run into the village and tell the people the speeches in there and things like that. So it was a powerful thing. Marcus Garvey revolutionized a lot of things, in terms of how we saw ourselves and, what we saw as right and what we saw was wrong. Marcus Garvey came and said, you know what, this colorism that I see going on amongst the race, he said, I understand it's a sensitive issue. However, we shouldn't continue it. He taught us to have race pride. People that went outside of their race. Marcus Garvey had a problem with that. He said it's like you're insulting your mother to take a woman that is not of the same race as your mother. You're insulting your father, and you're insulting God, the Creator. So, them kind of views, were revolutionary at that time. At that time you had light-skinned people thinking that because they were light-skinned, they were smarter than dark-skinned people. If you look at certain countries, you would have all of their leaders are light-skinned, all of them. And even when you look at art history in general, it is a lot of light-skinned people that they are selecting to be our heroes and our sheroes. And Marcus Garvey said, no, we the people must select our own heroes. He said that, for instance, he said that Dessalines should be a hero. You know, Toussaint, should be our hero. He said that we should create our own heroes. He said that we should take the white woman off of our walls. He said that we shouldn't remove, the kinks out of our hair. We should remove them out of our minds. The views of Garveyism is what is going to save us in this time. It's going to unify our people. They could say Pan-African, and for a lot of times I've said that I defend Pan-Africanism because I agree with the principles of Pan-Africanism. However, I've always stated that, I'm a black nationalist. I've always made that very clear. So that means that I can't be confused with what I'm saying or what I'm doing, where in history there has been times where Pan-Africanism has been confused with black nationalism. And at the same time, you have people like Du Bois, and these people that was a great enemy to Garvey. I even showed you in the presentation how the judge for the Marcus Garvey case was an NAACP member, and the NAACP had a campaign to get Garvey gone. They said that Marcus Garvey is the Negro's worst enemy. In America at the time, I think that you had a group or a society of people that were light-skinned, and they felt that they should rule on behalf of the darker-skinned people and only answer to the white man. And Garvey said, upon all of that, we want separation from the white man, and they looked at that as a hindrance to what they're trying to do, because they're trying to get further, so to speak, in the Europeans' establishments. When Garvey was saying, forget that, man, we want our own. So they didn't like Garvey, and Garvey, they even made jokes about Garvey's heritage and his facial features and stuff like that, you get me? So we're not with that, and so Garvey in that sense is the philosophy in it that we need to be studying. There's volumes of work on Garvey. We talk about Race First. The book by Tony Martins is an excellent book. This book here is a part of 11 volumes of just letters, any evidence that they found on Marcus Garvey was put in there. You have Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, volumes 1, 2, and 3. There's so much information out on Marcus Garvey, so I don't think that there's any reason why people are not studying Marcus Garvey in this time. I think that the so-called powers that these people have over us has pushed us away from Garvey and given us these people that we want to, select as our heroes, and people like Marcus Garvey kind of get forgotten. But we, the people, of AWF, we select Marcus Garvey as our greatest example. There's many others, of course. He doesn't stand there alone, but we acknowledge that in history he was the only man that tried to bring all of us together under one body and build some type of economy for us, some type of independence for us, to be a sovereign people. He also gave us pride in ourselves. He showed us that whatever man has done before, man can do it again. So that was, he was trying to encourage us to make our own, or to rewrite history and make our own history, a history that we can be proud of, to say, yes, man, we did this, and we did it by ourselves. So there was no funding from any other people. No one can say Marcus Garvey was funded by these Masons or these Ford foundations or anything like that. Marcus Garvey didn't accept no money from anybody else. All the money that the UNIA used was raised by black people around the world, for black people around the world's interest. And I think that is the way forward. We shouldn't be taking handouts from these people. We shouldn't be asking for anybody's approval. Going back to the Marcus Garvey being shot, the shooter was sent to kill Marcus Garvey because the guy Kilroy didn't like the fact that Marcus Garvey was talking about getting a ship. He's saying, you don't need a ship, kind of thing. And Marcus Garvey told him to listen, just as the white man has a ship, the black man is gonna have a ship, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? And that is the bottom line. That we will get organized. You know, even as I say this today in 2020, if it takes another 100 years, it takes another 100 years, but there will be a day when black people get organized, and do for self. And I can guarantee you that Marcus Garvey would be involved in that too. And 9 times out of 10, the flag, the red, black and green, will be flown by those people. You know, it's a part of our history that we can never get rid of it. It's a part of our liberation history. You know, that's why we always talk about Nani. We always talk about Toussaint and these people. It's a part of our story we will never forget. But we will never forget Marcus Garvey, the man that came and brought us all together. You understand what that said? Yes, we can do it. And yes, we will do it. And he proved that we can do it. You know, in a time where we didn't have the internet, we didn't have this type of social media outlets now, and he had millions of followers, 11 million followers. And I often say, they estimate at around 6 million to 11 million followers, but I often say the numbers could be really much more. Do you know what I mean? And when you look at people that was not officially members, they never signed membership, but they was associated with the organization, worked day to day with the organization, but they just didn't join. But you know, you have some people that just like that, they just don't want to join nothing, but they will be a part of it. They just don't want to officially join anything. So, you know, the UNIA, if you think about it, if you look at the pictures and stuff, you could see black people in uniform, black people moving together. It's a beautiful image, and you know, we must remember this. So as we're here, you know, talking about Marcus Garvey today to celebrate the life of him on his Earth Strong, the 17th of August, you know, we just give thanks and we hold a joy at the same time, and we look at the works of the man, and then we also look at the vision, the works that we're going to have to continue to do in this time. Because it's on one hand, it's good to remember somebody, but to truly honor somebody, you have to continue the works of that person. And you know, Marcus Garvey worked on behalf of us. He was not even born when he was working. He said this is for the unborn African children. And he said that, you know, there will come a time there in death here where he will come to aid us with the millions of African people that had been killed during the times of slavery and, you know, in general. You know, so we don't have no fear in this time. You know, Garveyism is the solution. It's race first or nothing else. And I think that I just want the listeners, the watchers, you know, to really go out there and check out something on Garvey. Go and study them. You know, there's a small white and blue book called Message to the People. Get yourself a copy of that book. You know, it's cheap. You know, check out Black Child Promotions on Instagram. They can get you that book for reasonable prices. Books is very important for you to have that in your collection. Study it. It's a course of African philosophy. Go through it. You know, study it with your children. Make it be something that you discuss with your children. Make it be something that you buy for your child or your nephew, your niece's birthday. You know, if you're into the Christmas thing, maybe Christmas Kwanzaa. You know, make that book be a book that is well read in the household. You know, I think that book there gives you, you know, it's not the rules, the regulations, the understanding of what it is we say we are. You know, and then, you know, the rest of the studies on Marcus Garvey will tell you about the works that we need to do. You know, so you know, I just want to thank everybody for the time that you've took out to watch this. You know, just keep up the good work. Everybody that's working in the community. You know, I know a lot of the time the real Garveyites, their work don't get seen. They don't get the recognition. But you know, as they say, you know, no good deed goes unpunished, and that might be just the punishment that we have to face, that we have to just work and work and work here, and no one don't see the works that we do. But I just said, but on this side, I just want to big up everybody in the community working, you know, for the liberation of our people. If no one don't see you, you know, we see you right now, and we just give thanks for the work you're doing. I want to big up the Lions then, you know, the Rastafari Global Council. I want to big up Black Eyes TV, you know, for being a platform where we can come together and heal as a people, you know, but yeah, man, that's all I want to say right now, man. And check out all the lectures that we've done online already, and look out for the space where our minister will be bringing more information to a city near you soon, yeah? Peace and black power, my people. One love, one aim, and one destiny.